trucker's life on the road.
Nothing runs perfect all the time. You gotta deal with it. It's just a part of the job. If everything went smooth, it wouldn't be boring. But I'm just kind of thinking that this deal here isn't going to be too easily solved.
You have to have a second driver that can do the job and that you can get along with well enough to do the job. You can't be buddies. It has to be employer-employee situation. That's the only way it'll work. And it doesn't matter whether the guy's 30 years older than you or 30 years younger than you. It's a business, you know, and you have to treat it that way.
Crash, bang. All the real heavy stuff is going to be stockpiled in here now to do them for the 4 or 5 weeks that the road bans are on. Move. And then in the middle of April, the rivers go out. So from then till the end of May, they have to pay a premium price for their freight. So they want to get all this heavy stuff stockpiled first. Oh, don't push. Just bring in the other one. That's laying right there.
Women that are staying at home, they pretty well basically take over and live their own separate lifestyle. And you can't come in there and say, okay, I want this done today or whatever. You got to kind of ease into it so they get used to the idea, or else it won't work. They'll go the opposite direction. And fights will start. Before you know it, you're finished. Eh?
He's been trucking probably ever since I've known him. So when the kids came in the picture, it was a little harder to adjust, but we got used to it. You don't go through all the same experiences, I guess. He feels he's overworked on the road, and I feel I'm overworked being at home, so we can't actually experience each other's lives. Just, no, well, what about some chicken?
Like, she's used to running the house, and you can't have two people running something. Eh? Like, she looks after all the bills and everything, so I can't just take over, you know. She's used to her routine, I'm used to mine. We have a pretty good setup. Like, some women have to have somebody around to tell them what to do. That type of relationship wouldn't work for truck driving at all.
If you're not independent and willing to carry on a lifestyle of your own and a household of your own, you won't make it. Because a lot of the truckers that we know are either divorced or separated, or like they're just not married.
Might be rough. Well, I try to phone home about every 3 days.
A little rougher than what I thought.
As long as I'm in an area that the cell phone's working in. In some ways, it's nice to have your time apart too. Like everybody gets along better. So I don't know. It is a hard life on the family. Yeah?
Last week, Ty to send him back out to his truck because he had to look on the side of the door to see what the name was. What's your order number?
Order number 706-210.
Go ahead and put your radio on 13, and they'll be calling you right now.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
It's not all fun and games. There's a lot of work, a lot of long hours, and you don't find that out till you go to work for somebody, and you realize what you have to do to make the money is keep the wheels turning.
Some people find it funny that we have a scale here because they look at it as being at the end of the line, more or less. But no, it's, especially a highway like this, safety is a big thing everywhere. Your other driver's off duty right now?
Yeah.
So the truck's been good for you?
Yeah, it has been, yeah. It kept when it falls over.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy it's doing a good job.
We find that most of the problems occur with older equipment. that is not maintained, you have basically 500 miles of gravel road once you leave the corner. So you're dealing with temperatures from plus 30 to minus 45, 50 sometimes, you know. So given the climate change and the temperature and the weather and the snow and ice and mud, and it takes its toll on equipment.
In the wintertime, they throw some snow on the ice, and then they start bringing water up. They have an auger truck that just pulls water up through the ice, and they just do this for weeks and weeks until they get enough ice built up to hold the weights they need. And it just becomes a bridge, and it'll become 6, 8 feet thick. Usually by the beginning of January, we're hauling full loads across the ice. And it'll continue now until pretty well the end of April.
There's some companies out there that base their money on the miles they make, eh? But the regulations are getting stricter now, so they can't get away with it. But definitely there's companies that push it, eh? There's no doubt about it. There are some companies that have paperless logbooks, they call it. It's all you type into the computer, and there's a buzzer goes off when your hours are done. But I don't know, I'm used to the old way of doing it. More flexible. You can manipulate it legally, of course, but I don't want to say you can do it illegally, but you can manipulate your hours to work yourself into a better position.
I love them all day yesterday, but I'm gonna put it as far as I can. Well, I'm gonna try to get all the way across, no matter how long it takes me.
If it's a dangerous combination, if you got somebody that's pushed and he figures he has to be at the other end, then he's gonna keep on going, you know, and drive past when he should be off the road.
Sunday morning, 6 o'clock.
Oh, spot right there. I'll be darned. Like I prefer my own bed at home there, but I've got the TV in there, and I can sleep good in that bed. I'm used to it. And you're tired. At the end of the day, you're ready to sleep. Sleeping's not a problem when you're on the road, I don't find.
Each of the skid drivers sort of has his own little area that he specializes in. Fort McPherson, I don't know, just turned into mine, I guess. I get to see the people express their gratitude towards what I'm doing, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel you got a purpose. You're down in the south there, and the first thing they're telling you is they're waving their placards having a strike because they don't want to have trucks driving down that street. And then they want to know why the hell you're not at Safeway in time for them.
Hey, Kenny! Good, you?
People have to eat, people have to live in houses, people have to wear clothes, and until they figure out a way to get the choo-choo trains into Safeway, then I'm not going to worry about it.
You can only do it for so long because it's the same road, same place, week in and week on, and you can only double for so long.
Okay. Just whoa, white tape.
I don't think I'm gonna go up there for another winter. I had my experience and I want to try something different.
All right. Oh, that's good. Okay. Right to the front there, Ed.
You got a choice.
So you got 5.
That's why one thing about being a truck driver, you got a choice to go to a different job. You know, it's not hard to find another truck driving job if you have the experience. Bang. You know, which is good.
Kind of quit now. It was leaking bad the other day. In his business, you have to make money with running the equipment without any damages and little minimal breakdowns and downtime and stuff like that. If you have a good trip with no problems, you get a bonus. And then there's bonuses for fuel and bonuses for safety and other things like that to go on top of it.
This is my 7th winter now, and I don't think you ever take it for granted because I'm as enthused about it and awestruck by it today as I am the first winter I was here. But basically, on a day like this out here, and with the sun and the mountains and nature and the road spirits and everything, basically my biggest fear out here is I'm going to find people.
When there is an accident, it's a catastrophic accident. Like, there's not a fender bender with a big truck, very seldom. At highway speed, anyway. Somebody's gonna get hurt. If somebody gets killed, truck's involved in the accident, well, it's the guy in the truck's fault then. They don't know the details, but that right away, automatically, they figure, well, the truck's involved, he must have run over the car or whatever. 9 times out of 10, it was the car that caused it, eh? This stuff is split-second decisions. You can't think about it. It's got to be in your mind. And if it hasn't happened to you before, how are you going to react in time?
This is the first significant snowfall we've had in 14 years in Oklahoma, and this magnitude. So, people just aren't used to it. And these guys, they're going all across the country. They've got these time schedules they got to try and make up. You just got to push it as hard as you can. It appears this fellow just fell asleep going down the road.
I heard it happened right at daybreak, so I can relate to that. That's when you feel the tiredest. That's when I feel the tiredest anyway. If you have to drive all night for whatever reason. How did he keep that on his wheels? I used to really enjoy driving. That was all I wanted to do, but the last 4 years or so, it's starting to wear off. It's more like work now. I still enjoy it, but it's not like it was when I first started to drive. It was just, I loved it.
If we look at for 1 year and the time we put on it, we maybe have $5 an hour, maybe. That's the top. Because the fuel is expensive, but not only that. We have brokers who sell only loads, and they don't do nothing. They buy a load and they sell it to another one. They get $200-300 for that, sitting there.
I have a girlfriend. I phone every day. I miss her. She miss me. We don't have a choice.
But we like to drive. Mostly, this is the main point, I guess. We all love this hard work.
The day's not over yet.
No,